Well, hey there, boys and girls. Today's lesson is going to be about the metric system. And I love the metric system. It's so much easier to work with because, it's based on our number system, which is a base 10 number system. We like to work with tens because, it's a lot easier. With the customary units of measurement like length would be like inches and feet, you had to remember a lot of different numbers. Like there's 12 inches in a foot, there are 3 feet in a yard. When we were doing capacity, look at all those units of measurement that we went over: pints and quarts, and there were 2 pints in a quart, but there were 4 quarts in a gallon. It was just overload of all these strange numbers. Metric system works with just tens, hundreds, thousands. You'll see. Well, today I'm going to start by teaching you, telling you a little story. A true story. And it takes place back in the 1400s in England. And there was a king that lived there in England who ruled his country. King Henry, his name was. And King Henry was not a nice king. He was kind of mean to his subjects, and had a lot of enemies. One day, he was drinking some chocolate milk, and he just kind of keeled over and died. Unusually died. Who dies from drinking chocolate milk? No one. But the king did. King Henry died unusually drinking chocolate milk. I have a little visual here of that to kind of help you remember the story. There's King Henry drinking his chocolate milk, and then keeled over and died unusually. Well, I don't think there was anything wrong with the chocolate milk, but I do think somebody put something in there. Maybe some poison. Who knows? But that's my little story. And you're probably thinking, geez, Mr. Thornton, what are you talking about today? You're just off on this strange story. It doesn't have anything to do with math. Well, wrong you are. It has everything to do with math, and it has everything to do with the metric system. So I'm going to show you how this all relates. So I'm going to need, you're going to need paper today. So if you don't have any, go get some paper. I want you to do your diagram. We're going to do a diagram together. I want it to be, the paper to be this way. Not this way, but this way. So if you need to pause the video to get your paper and pencil, and go ahead and do that. I'm going to switch over to my notes, and now I'm going to show you what that story has to do with the metric system. So when you have your paper, I want you to start by drawing a rectangle in the middle of it, about this big. Okay? A little rectangle in the middle. Hi, Franny, how are you? And this is the center of our diagram. It is where our units of measurement go. And I'm going to write in there. Now remember, we have, in the last customary conversion, we had length, we had capacity, and we had mass. It's the same thing in the metric system. Length, we use meters. In liquid measurement or capacity, we have liters. And in the weight, we use grams. Okay? Now, those are the base units. And when we talk about the different units of measurements, we're going to be adding prefixes to the word meter or liter or gram. So I'm going to start with my drawing here. I'm just going to draw another rectangle about the same size but lower. And one more. So kind of like making steps. And one more. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the left, but this time I'm going to go higher. Ooh, that was a weird one. There we go. Okay. So now your diagram should look like mine, and we're going to put some labels here. Now the labels that we're going to use are the prefixes to all the different metric units. Way up at the top left, the biggest one is the kilo. So if I were saying kilometers, I might do, I might do km. If I was doing kilograms, I would do kg. That's how that works. Okay? All right. So kilo is the largest. And next we have hecto. After that, we have deca, decameter, decaliter, whatever. Then we have our main units here. And then getting smaller from the main unit, we have our deci. We have our centa, like centimeters. And then we have our milla. Oh, that's not an A. It's an I. Milli. Okay, like millimeters. Okay, so before we go any further, I really should, and I'm going to do this in red just to kind of point out some practical things here. There are several of these units that we will use in this math unit, but some of them we won't use at all, and you probably never even see. But I'm going to star the ones that are important for us to remember. Kilo, like kilometers, kilograms, that's an important one. Hecto and deca, I mean, I've never seen any math problems with those units of measurements. Now, we can't not include them because they are part of this diagram. Of course, we're going to see our base units quite a bit. Deci, again, not a lot of use for that one, but you will see a lot of centa and milla when you're doing metric conversions. I bet some of you in the back of your head are probably thinking, Mr. Thornton, what about that silly story with King Henry? Well, this is where I'm going to kind of reveal what that all means. I'm going to write a sentence at the top of my diagram here. King Henry died unusually drinking chocolate milk. Sad face. King Henry died unusually drinking chocolate milk. And the first letter of each word stands for these prefixes in my diagram. Now you might say, well, unusually doesn't, how does that factor in here? It's because U is for the units. Just to remember, that's the base unit, meter, liter, and gram. Okay? And now I'm going to show you how to use this diagram. And I'm going to give you a problem. Now, I'm going to ask you, don't write these problems on your diagram. You just leave your diagram the way it is right now. And that way you'll have a nice clean copy to look at. And you can always do your work on the side on another piece of paper. But you don't need to do that for now because I just want you just to watch and see how I do it. So I'm going to write on my diagram, and like I said, you don't have to. I'm going to put a conversion here you might see. 7 meters equals how many centimeters? 7 meters equals how many centimeters? Okay, so to use the diagram, we start with what we know here. We know we have 7 meters, and we have to turn it into what we don't know. So I'm going to start with meters. Remember, M, one letter is always going to be the base unit. All the other measurements to the right or to the left are going to have 2-letter abbreviations, like centimeter. Okay? But I'm going to start by putting an X right on top of my meter, because it's 7 meters. And I'm going to go down the steps to centa. So I'm going to go down 1, 2 steps. Okay? And I went to the right. Okay, Franny, chill out, girl, because you're ruining my video. Okay. So 7 meters, I went from meters to centimeters. I went 2 steps. So I start with my 7. And remember, a whole number, if you don't see a decimal, you can always put 1 to the right of the whole number. And so we're going to move that decimal 2 places, because I did 2 steps, to the right. 1, 2. And what do we do with those empty spaces now? I have to fill in with zeros. And I know you remember that from when we were multiplying and dividing by powers of 10. So 7 meters equals 700 centimeters. Okay? Let's try another one. Okay, get rid of these. All right. Let's have 512 milliliters equals how many liters? All right. So 520 milliliters, so that's the milli, and I'm going to put my X right there. Okay. To go up to liters, I'm going to need to go to the left from milliliters. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. To the left, just like Beyonce's saying 512. Okay, it's a whole number, 512 milliliters, so I'm going to put my decimal to the right there. I need to move that decimal 3 places, and I went to the left, so that's 1, 2, 3. So my answer is 0.512 liters. 512 thousandths liter. One more? Well, like you have a choice, right? Yeah, let's do one more. Okay, get that. These and that. Okay. How about let's do one with a kilogram. So 9 kilograms equals how many grams. Okay. So I'm starting with 9 kilograms. So I'm starting way up here at the top. And I have to go down 2 grams. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay. 3 steps to the right. And that means I need to move my decimal to the right 3 places. 1, 2, 3. So 9 kilograms equals 9,000 grams. All right, so, okay, I think I'm ready to come back. Let me flip it around here. Here we are, back to our video. So that's how you use that diagram. It's kind of easy because it's all about just knowing where to move your decimal point in what direction, okay? And even if you didn't have the diagram, the same lesson that we learned before with, horse to fly, multiply, and fly to horse, divide, of course, it still works. For example, if I had 6 kilometers and I wanted to know how many meters that would be. Kilometers is the bigger unit. So I love my cat. So here 6 kilometers equals how many meters? So that's a large unit to a small unit. That's going to be horse to fly. Kilometers to meters. So we're going to have to multiply. When you look at the little conversion table, it will say 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters. So you would multiply I think I said 6 kilometers. 6 times 1,000 would give us 6,000 meters. Okay? So this still works, and it's just that the diagram's a little more straightforward and easy to work with. Well, I hope you liked this lesson, and I hope you enjoy using the metric system for your conversions. We'll do a couple days of that. So when you're done with this video, just go ahead and answer the practice questions, and I hope you have a great day. You've been doing really good with all of this distance learning, and I hope that you do not drink any tainted chocolate milk, because I don't want you to end up like King Henry. Anyway, see you later, guys.